Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Sports Central. I'm Neal Duncan. We have got a slam-packed show for you today. We're thrilled to be back in the studio. School has started, and that can mean one thing. High school sports have resumed in Polk County, so we're going to dedicate 2 segments to that, and we're going to talk with the Florida Youth Soccer Association about their Olympic development program. Stick around, everybody, for this week's edition of Sports Central. Everybody, welcome back to Sports Central. I'm Neal Duncan alongside Gerald Richardson, and normally a guest on this show, but since joining tourism and sports marketing, now a co-host. So welcome aboard.
Hey, thanks. Yeah, just moved a seat down and glad to be on.
It's a very important seat. But hey, this first segment brought to us by the Hampton Inn Winter Haven, a great partner of tourism and sports marketing. But we'll get into a little bit of what you're going to be doing with tourism and sports marketing in our 4th segment. We have a special guest in our 1st segment, Dan Talbot, the Polk County's athletic director, right? You just recently had a new title. So is that, what is it?
Oh, so I went from senior coordinator of athletics to now. And I'm the director of athletics, physical education, driver's education, use of facilities for the Polk County School Board. So
that's,
a lot of titles.
That's close to what I said.
So
right?
Director of athletics is fine.
That's a mouthful.
lot of hats, but Dan, of course, you very busy week. A lot of busy weeks that preceded this first week of school. We appreciate the time coming in. We know you're extremely busy right now, but let's talk about. I don't really want to look back so much as looking back to find what the best practices are for this upcoming year, because last year was difficult at best trying to facilitate high school sports.
Yeah, I think we've learned a lot last year, and I think it's going to help us progress as we move through this season. Obviously, the mask mandate is optional. So we're dealing with that, but we're still going to be having our sanitizing stations. We're going to try to social distance as much as we can and provide the student athletes the safest environment that you can during this time. And I think people were caught a little bit off guard because I think everyone believed over the summer the COVID subsided and it was going away, and we started to get that sense of normalcy, and then all of a sudden we kind of had a little outbreak with the COVID, especially in certain states, and Florida was being one of them. But we're fortunate enough where what we went through last year has prepared us for this year.
Fantastic. Wonderful. We got high school football starting here a couple weeks. What, in that same breath, what guidelines for spectators? Or is there anything in place?
Obviously, we're going to encourage people to wear masks when they're visiting our campuses, but they are optional. Basically, our outdoor venues are going to be at 100% capacity, and then we're going to social distance the best we can. Obviously, some games are going to be well attended versus other games. So those games that aren't well attended, we're going to encourage people to space out, 3 feet to 6 feet if they can. But when Lake Gibson and Lakeland play in Lake Gibson, we're going to be lucky to get 1 inch between the spectators, so we're excited about that too. And then indoor, we're going to be at 75% capacity, which really shouldn't affect us until we get towards the end of basketball season when we start doing the playoffs.
And I think it's probably important to mention, knowing what you face and what your athletic directors face at the different schools, and this information comes in real time, and decisions have to be made, and then the organization pivots towards what's going on. So really, I would think that the school board, and I guess it's more of a question than a statement, but make sure you know what the rules are before you go. The most up-to-date rules. That way, there's not any being caught off guard or whatever, but let's put that on the fans as well to make sure they know what they're attending, right? Yeah,
and communicate with the school, with the school-based athletic director. One thing we're doing this year, we're going to offer digital ticketing, so we can alleviate some of the old school handing money in and tearing a ticket like we've had for the last 100 years in Polk County. So we're implementing our digital ticketing program at each high school, so we're excited about that, and fans will have the opportunity to basically go online, buy a ticket, print it out, send it to their phone, walk in, scan it, and come right in. And so a lot of contact stuff we're trying to implement this year in athletics that we just couldn't get to last year because we just had other things. But we're excited for the sports season, and always we're excited for golf and volleyball, cross country, swimming and diving, and obviously football is what it is here in Polk County. But
Is it important in Polk County? Is that?
I think a little. I think, well, to me, I mean, that's a difficult job. I've coached football for 20 years,
Right.
and I hate to say this, but I would rather go to a volleyball match or a golf tournament or swimming than go to football. I think when you've coached football for 20 years, you watch it different than a normal fan will. Because I get there and I get frustrated, like, why are they doing this? Or you can look at a defense going, they're beat already, and that frustrates you. So I enjoy going to the events I don't know much about because I can be a true spectator. That's why I love lacrosse. I haven't figured out. I have no idea they can beat each other with sticks. It's exciting. It's high speed, high tempo. But
It's funny that you say that because, as you know, I'm a Bartow guy, and Terrence McGriff, the head basketball coach, boys basketball coach, is the best self-proclaimed football coach in the country. He's won state title, 3 state titles as basketball, but he really thinks he's a football coach. So it's funny to hear you say the same. An actual football coach, because he's on the sideline going, "Oh wait, what are you talking about? Get to the gym."
And if you coach for 20 years, because some say, like, I never heard people in the stands. Every now and then it did, but when you coach and then you go sit in the stands for the first time, all you had to do is turn around and ask for help. There's 100,000 people ready to help you, coach and do.
Now let me clarify. He's not second guessing anything that they're doing. Certainly not. But so one of the things with you talk about football. It's a storied tradition here in Polk County, and COVID kind of threw off the whole approach to everything like it has in so many things across society. But that financially impacts all the other sports as well when you're not able to have the larger crowds, correct?
So we were fortunate enough last year because if you go to the previous year, we got football season in. And then unfortunately spring sports got canceled. And in a majority of schools, spring sports don't bring in the revenue like it does in the fall. So going into the so-called COVID year, we were financially sound because now this year we really have to watch what we spend because we didn't have the crowds we used to at the home football games. But the nice thing is we can't buy anything because there's nothing to buy.
True.
I mean, the supply chain in athletics has been decimated. I feel bad for Davenport. I've been calling them Team Skittles, our newest high school, because you go out to football practice and there's a red helmet, a blue helmet, a yellow helmet, a gold helmet, a green helmet, and it looks like Skittles are running around. So those helmets are on the FedEx truck. I just got confirmation they'll be here early next week for their new helmets, and then obviously we're going to take our Skittle helmets and get them out to other high schools because unfortunately we have some student athletes right now that are practicing and kids are using different helmets and stuff like that. But you never thought about the things. I think we're learning more that, the new football coach from Davenport was complaining that he only had 6 footballs. And the athletic director at Auburndale was like, we only have 5. And we've been around for 100 years. So the supply chain was decimated in a lot of athletics. And that's something we really didn't predict or could see coming. And so, like I was told last night that we got to order the spring uniforms for Davenport this week, or they may not come in. There's a shortage on foam because we got to order the high jump pit and the pole vault pit for the new high school. We got to order them this week because there's a shortage on foam. And who would have known there'd be a shortage on foam due to COVID?
Now, these are a lot of things people don't think about. Real quick, and I don't want to cut Gerald off, but one thing I want to commend you and the school board on. I talked about revenues and potential loss of revenues, but what I saw from the school board is that never played a factor into what capacities were, whether those games were going to run or not. It was about the safety of the student athletes as well as the spectators. It wasn't about the bottom line. So I commend you and the school board.
Well, and that's one thing. We wanted the games to happen first and foremost, and we weren't going to do anything. And if we knew it would put a financial strain on us to do so, but at the end of the day, you want to provide an opportunity for student athletes to compete. We want our fans to enjoy the atmosphere. We want it to be as safe as you can. And I think the one thing I learned, and hopefully a lot of coaches learned going through COVID, it's not about how much money comes in or how many people are at the event, but just having the opportunity to play, I think was really the focus last year because no one ever thought we'd cancel sports. And when we went home March 13th in 2020, everyone thought we were going home for 2 weeks. The kids are like, I'll be a 2-week break from practice. And we never came back. So I think the focus is that kids are enjoying the sport more. The coaches are enjoying it more because they're appreciative of what they have. And I don't think it's like that old cliche, you don't really know what you have until you lost it. And when we lost sports for that second half of 2020, I think the student athletes and the coaches appreciated it a little bit more. And I think the stress, like Coach Tate at Bartow, yeah, he went under, he said it was his most stress-free year. I was like, well, yeah, when you're 10-0, things are not as stressful as when you're not winning. But he said it was the best year I had coached because there's no pressure. He knew he was in the playoffs at the end of the year. He had so much fun. And I think it was good for us in that aspect that, we can get back to what high school sports should be about. And it's learning skills to help you grow in life, but having a great time and having fun and enjoying what you do. And so it was good to see that. And, I'm just excited. Sam Hornsfield from Ridge Community competed in the British Open. He's a Polk County kid. I know he played under England, but, he played golf at Ridge Community High School. So we had a lot going on. And but the fact that we're playing and we're pushing through is a great thing for our student athletes, because you got to really consider the mental health of our student athletes. And you talk to some older generation, my generation's like, it's a football game, but you got to understand it. We can't control what's important to kids, and when something is important to student athletes is taken away from them, it's going to affect them. And so we have to be conscious of that and understand the importance of what athletics does for our student athletes. And we're excited. We're growing and expanding. We're looking at esports. We're going to target a whole nother generation of kids, so we need to sit down and talk about esports. But we're excited for this fall sports, as we all are, sports season, and we're excited for our student athletes to be back in school and face-to-face instruction. So we're ready to go. We're excited. All sports start next week, so here we go. My last free weekend. And Hurricane Fred is coming, so unfortunately.
Yeah, don't say that. There's a bunch of things playing tomorrow at Bartow High School. Don't say that. Well, Dan, the segments always go by so fast. Just a wellspring of knowledge, and we appreciate everything that you are doing on behalf of the student athletes as well as the school board, because it is a storied tradition in all sports. I mean, basketball and boys, girls, and all softball and all kinds of sports. So thank you so much. We'll have you back real soon.
Appreciate it, and appreciate your partnership with us, and giving us the opportunity to showcase our programs through you guys as well. We appreciate your partnership as well.
Absolutely. Well, the return of high school sports, we're excited about that, as well as the return of college football in Polk County. We're blessed to have 3 colleges, universities that are playing: Warner, Weber, and Southeastern. We've got some footage of a previous game from Southeastern, and their first home game will be Saturday, August 28th at 7 p.m. against the University of Fort Lauderdale. So Gerald and I are going to take a break. Check out this action. We'll be right back here on Sports Central.
Hey, thanks, guys. Neal Duncan here for Sports Central at Victory Field on the campus of Southeastern University. We're getting ready for a top 20 matchup. Before we do, we're going to talk to the athletic director here at Southeastern, Mr. Drew Watson. And Drew, what a great atmosphere here. Game day.
Yeah, it's game day, and as you said, 2 ranked teams. This is the first time in school history that we've had 2 ranked teams on this field. So we're excited. It's hot out here, so hopefully the fans come out and we have a great day.
Well, let's talk about that. I mean, the great atmosphere. It is warm. You guys are used to night games, but a day game, so it's changing it up a little bit.
Yeah, Neal, we've had 1 day game in our history, and it was kind of like this. The turnout wasn't great, but that was in our first year. So we're hoping, even with the Gators playing tonight, that we get some Gator fans out and to support Fire football, because it's a great environment.
I was actually going to speak to that. We have 3 football teams, college football teams here in Polk County, obviously Southeastern being one of them. And if you're a Florida State, Miami, whoever your team is, DVR, the ability to record, there's no reason you shouldn't come out to one of these games.
Absolutely. I mean, college football in Lakeland, and it's if you've not been out to a game, it is a tremendous experience, and usually it's when the sun's going down. We've got the flames coming off the scoreboard. You're going to see that in a few minutes. Dragonfly flames off the field. But we try and do a good job of making this feel like a Division I atmosphere. It's not just coming to a game and watching some football. It's watching good football, and you've got a great atmosphere.
Well, I think to that point, it's not Division I, but don't be mistaken that it's not good football.
Well, and that's a misconception about NAIA football. And we even get it in players that are trying to come here. Well, it's only NAI. It's not that good football. It really is. I mean, we've had fans sitting up here. We just graduated our first class last year. And fans coming to those first few games are like, wow, that running back's D1 caliber. That kicker's D1 caliber. Quarterback's doing great. So it's not, it's not Florida State or Florida, but it's a high level of football, and I think people will be surprised when they come out here.
Well, let's not talk about Florida State right now because I think your offensive line is probably better than their offensive line, but I'll move on. Talk about, it's a young program still, and you look at all the amenities and the administration, the way they have supported this program, not just football, but all sports. Talk about the growth here at Southeastern.
Well, Dr. Ken Engel, the leadership team, and they do a tremendous job of visioning to what we can do to become bigger, better, how we can help students develop who they are. But really one of our philosophies is if we're going to do it, we're going to do it right. And so when we built this stadium, when the administration started to dream about football, well, we're not going to go off campus to play football. We're not going to play at a high school field, even though our high school field in town is pretty good. But what we decided to do is build something that is quality, that is a great recruiting piece, and that people look at and say, man, that is a quality program. That's not just the team on the field. It's the way they do every single thing, and really that carries off to the university. We're putting up a building over here, the Welcome Center. They made sure they did that right. It's going to be a tremendous experience for people that walk in that door that are looking at Southeastern.
Well, this football team has a great opportunity to make a deep run in the playoffs. Kind of tripped up right out of the gate with somewhat of a surprising loss, but have won every game since. Top 20 matchup here. You and I can talk all day about how great it is, but we probably ought to let the action take care of it.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Sports Central. Neal Duncan alongside Gerald Richardson. The second segment brought to us by Jimmy John's, 2 locations in Lakeland and great partners of tourism and sports marketing. But I'm excited, the return of football.
Yeah, it's been too long. I don't think there should be an off season.
I don't disagree. but I don't want 15 new leagues. I want to watch the same teams that I like, just they play year round.
Yeah, the XFLs and all those that pop up, they're kind of tough to get into.
I mean, good luck to them, but I don't want to see my team. So, well, it's no secret on this program, or if you tune into the sister show on Talk 1430 WLKF, actually 96.7, I'm a Bartow guy. I love the Yellow Jackets, and we actually have a Yellow Jacket on the program today. Katelynn Red Oxley. I made the joke when, well, first of all, welcome to Sports Central, and thanks for coming on. I made the joke when I looked at the script. I'm like, wait, Katelynn? That's because everybody knows you by Red, correct?
Right.
You said you had a travel coach that didn't know your first name for 2 years.
Yeah.
But it's kind of part of who you are as a player.
Right.
And you had an extremely successful freshman year for Bartow High School. Talk about what it means to go through all those years as a travel ball player, and then you get to high school, and now Coach Rutenbar's putting the softball in your hand and putting a lot of expectations. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, it's very different because whenever you're in travel ball, you're in front of an audience, but it's more of your family, your friends, people that you know. So then whenever you go out on that field, it's like a bunch of other students, it's like a whole much of a bigger crowd that you don't know. So that adds to the pressure a little bit. But also, it was really weird for me as a freshman because I didn't really expect to play as much as I did. Not because I didn't think I was good enough, but because as a freshman, that's kind of not ethical for a high school team, because seniority and everything else that you want your seniors to play because it's their last year and it's very meaningful to them. So it was very I was kind of not prepared as much as I should have been to play that much.
Yeah, well, Ledger's 2021 softball pitcher of the year, 19-3 record, ERA of .69, struck out over 300 batters in 152 innings pitched. I'm pretty sure we know the reason why you were out there that much. Talk about that and the accomplishments that you had in that first year, and where do you go from that? Because you're only a sophomore this year.
Right. My plan for the next year is definitely to just keep on doing what I did last year, but I'm working on new things. I'm trying to get stronger, and I'm trying to work on my mental game a little bit more rather than what's going on in the game. I'm trying to prepare more outside of that field and to be ready to go to that game, to be ready to do whatever I have to do to lead my team to a victory. So it's more mental this season than it is physical like it was last season.
Yeah, Coach, reading a quote Coach had in your article there when this past season you were the player of the year. He mentioned your strikeout ratio, which 152 innings, and the strikeout was 2-1. He had never had a pitcher in Bartow history with that type of ratio, and I'm sure you're aware of the history of Bartow and the great softball players and pitchers. What do you account that to in regards to your strikeout performance, your ratio versus others?
I definitely used the strike zone, and I definitely used deceiving the batter as how I struck out so many people. I would make sure that my patterns for my pitching was a tight enough zone that it looked like it was a strike. And then the next time it was a strike. So the rise ball, I would make sure it looked like a strike, then the next one would be a strike. That was my theory. That was how I got that many strikeouts, because you couldn't tell the difference. And that's how I was so accomplished in that many strikeouts. And coming into Bartow, I knew the history. I knew Lindsay Littlejohn. I knew everybody who went there, and I wanted to be like them. I wanted to become one of the people who you look up to. I wanted to be that person, but I had to do more than just strike out people. I had to be a good person. I had to be nice, not be nice to my teammates, but respect them and encourage them, and not let them show that I was defeated or anything else, because they feed off the pitcher. You feed off the pitcher in a game. You have to have a straight face. You have to not show any emotion. You have to be focused. And as the season went on, I got better at that, and as I did that, I didn't show my emotion, and so I was more focused on the batter and helping my team.
Awesome. What, kind of spinning off of that, once again, doing a little research, so no fastball, is that right?
No,
You
no
do not
fastball.
throw a fastball. So what's in your arsenal there of pitches?
As of right now, I have my curve and my screw, which accounts for the fastball, and then I'm working on a couple other pitches as of right now. They're still in development, as still developing. And so my strikeout pitch last year was definitely my rise ball. And if they didn't, some batters were they wouldn't swing at it. I was oh, come on, just swing. But they wouldn't swing at it, so we would deceive them with the curveball, but it was in the other batter's box, so it was way out. And so sometimes they would be oh, that's just an outside pitch, but it would break off at the last minute, and that's how I would get that strikeout.
Wow.
Did you find it difficult being a freshman? You know, you talked about some of those things and being having respect for the players that came before and then the current, you know, juniors or seniors, whatever. Did you find it difficult to embrace the tradition at Bartow, or it feels like you said you were actually hungry to be a part of that tradition? So is it intimidating to walk on the field there at Bartow, I guess is a better question.
It is very intimidating to have. The first thing you see whenever you walk into the dugout is the Hall of Fame. You see these lists of names that like have done these amazing things, have had these amazing accomplishments, and you want to be part of that. So every time I walk into the dugout, I look at that and I say, I want to be a part of this. I want to have respect for my teammates. I want to be a leader. I want to be that person. So it was very intimidating to just see that and be like, how am I going to get there? Mm-hmm. But as soon as the process started with Coach Rutenbar, he definitely helped me to get there, to be able to have the mental toughness to be able to be losing a game 8-0 and still be doing my job, and then rely on my teammates to be able to hit the ball, to be able to make the plays whenever it's a ground ball, pop fly, or even a base hit. You can rely on your teammates to be able to back you and come back from that game. So my teammates helped me, my coach helped me to get to where I wanted to be.
Fantastic.
Wow. After your freshman year, obviously softball pitcher of the year, 19-3, all the other stats that Neal went through. What takes you to that next level? What are a few goals that you have for this year to continue where you're at, and not only continue, but to take that next step and be even better?
Well, this summer was definitely a huge step towards that because I was playing these like awesome teams. Like they were amazing. They could hit everything. Like they were just like, they were hitters. They were like batters. They could hit the ball. And I hadn't faced a whole lot of that until this year because I had dominated so much. But after this summer, I was like, okay, so I cannot miss anywhere near the plate. I have to be on the corners. I have to be where they cannot touch the ball, or else where it's gone. Like it's just going. So I had to definitely think about it and be more accurate. And I think that's what's going to help me this season to keep on doing what I'm doing, because I'm not going to let it anywhere near to where it's going to go over anymore, because that was definitely rough.
So that's great. So the Olympics just completed. Of course, Team USA softball was in the Olympics. They actually started their training in Polk County in 2020 before COVID struck and delayed the games, and they started again at Florida Southern College in January of 2021. Did you get a chance to go over there in 2020 and see Team USA?
I didn't get the chance to go over there, but I definitely was seeing a lot of it on Twitter and stuff. So like I definitely kept up with it, and I kept up with it this year a lot. I was very amazed with how well they did and how like much softball has become. Like, because whenever I was little, it wasn't like I went to Christina Park, I did my thing, T-ball, great, but I didn't see it on TV. I didn't see like how big of a deal like it was, like what I could become. So I was just doing it for fun. I was just there to hit the ball. But now I'm seeing it on TV, I'm like, okay, that's what I want to do. That's where I want to go. That's my end goal. Like it's.
That was my next question.
Yeah, like that's
Perfect.
just what it is.
Fantastic.
And all of this, so you've only been pitching 4 years?
Yeah.
Wow.
Wait, what?
4 years. Started pitching at 11. How about that?
You haven't seen her pitch in person. I
haven't.
Again, I'm a Bartow guy, and it's not fair. It's really not fair. And I know one of our show producers was saying, "Oh, maybe we could go out there and you guys could face Red." No, not going to happen. Not going to be on film. Not going to happen.
I think we would love that.
That would be
love that in
great.
the office.
Well, so we talked about the ultimate goal. That's fantastic, and as we're starting to run a little short on time, what is that singular favorite moment that you've had? Either it was in travel ball or this past season being a Yellow Jacket. What is your favorite all-time moment being a softball player?
It was definitely that there was this one game I was on Bartow and a girl hit a home run off me at the Kissimmee Classic, and we were already down. So like I came back up to bat and I was like, okay, I gotta help my team because me pitching isn't helping my team at this moment. So I took a breath and I was like, okay, how am I going to help my team here? Well, I was going for a base hit and I hit it over. So I was like, can we just cancel out the other home run? And so
Never happened.
So I helped my team in another way, and that it showed me that I can help my team not just with pitching, but with like fielding, hitting, and just being a good teammate. Like, it really opened my eyes.
Well, fantastic, Red. We
Wonderful.
wish you nothing but success in the future. It's hard to believe that you're only a sophomore. You're a seasoned pro. You're doing so great on this interview. So good luck to you, and we'll definitely have you back on Sports Central.
Thank you.
All right. Well, with that, it's hard to believe over a decade now, the Florida Youth Soccer Association has headquartered out of the Lake Myrtle Sports Park in Auburndale, hosting numerous events there, great economic impact for Polk County, and we have some footage of one of those events that recently took place. Check out this action. Gerald, Neal, be right back here on Sports Central.
Today's going on, it's called Regency Under 9s, Under 10 Festival. And we have teams, like I was saying, from Citrus County all the way down to Naples, including Clearwater and Lakeland. And we have Under 9s, Under 10 where they play a festival format. No, everybody's a winner, nobody's a loser. You just go out there and you play and you have a good time. And today we added some other things. We have like a little moon thing where you kick a ball through holes for the soccer, or shoot a basketball in the hopes.
We have 77 teams. They're comprised of U9 and U10 players from all over Regency. They go from Naples to Brooksville. We have 14 fields running today, so we're running a lot of games between the hours of 8 and 5.
Youth soccer in this area has grown, and I've been doing this now as vice president for 10 years, and we have grown. Now I have 87 clubs, but youth soccer has grown in this area that we have ODP, as you can see, our ODP teams, and they go to other states and they play against other states.
I think we have, right here in Regency, we have the most number of teams that participate in our statewide events, averaging anywhere between 300 to 600 teams just from here alone. So overall, the state, we have several teams that, advance and go on a national level. As a matter of fact, we had a national team, champion this year right out of our area here.
this is like just a start. Right now, this is like a start of all our soccer tournaments, the under-9s and under-10s festival. So this is what I like to do every year.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Sports Central. Neal Duncan alongside Gerald Richardson. This third segment brought to us by the Ledger, of course the Ledger Media Group, Polk Preps. They do a lot of great work in covering all things that are Polk County, and namely to this program, the things that are sports. Of course, we partner with them on the Polk County All Sports Awards and Hall of Fame induction ceremony hosted every June, and it was great to have that event again this year because we had to do it virtually last year. But anyways, great partners to the Ledger. We appreciate them. Florida Youth Soccer Association, as I said before we went into the break, it's hard to believe they've been here more than a decade now. Of course, that partnership between Polk County through Polk County Tourism and Sports Marketing, the City of Auburndale, and recruiting them to relocate their headquarters to the Lake Myrtle Sports Park in Auburndale. And joining us now is Mike Strickler from Florida Youth Soccer Association. And Mike, welcome back to Sports Central. I know you've been on before. And
yes.
How long have you been with FYSA?
This will be my 26th year.
I was going to say, so you were part of it. That's what I thought. You were part of the original move to Lake Myrtle.
Well, and I was an executive director for a little bit,
Right.
so I was in terms of the planning and stuff for it as well.
Yeah, so it's hard to believe. You're in the same boat with me. It's
Yes.
hard to believe. Here we are a decade later. Gerald, as
Exactly.
you heard, is a little bit newer to our organization, but really the partnership that went into, we like to say, because, not everybody is in the space that we're in when it comes to sports and special
Right.
events. These things don't just show up.
No.
Events don't just show up.
No.
So the partnerships are really important with the county, with the city, of course, FYSA, this three-way partnership. Speak to that just for a quick moment and how that's made things work so successfully over the last decade.
Well, it's the interesting thing about it is, we have the competitive events, we have the recreational events, and we have the ODP events.
Right.
And we're all running them through Auburndale.
Right.
Now, we do other stuff in other parts of the state, but I think that's the biggest piece. And then the economic factor to it with, hotels and meals and all the sort of stuff that goes around that. I think that works. So I think that's what we found. It's nice to go to Auburndale because we got all our equipment there. We don't have to transport it anywhere else because we used to have to when we first came here, we were on the first three fields because the back fields weren't even built yet.
Right.
So we had to bring all our stuff in, everything with us. And I was for state trials, and I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And we're at Winter Haven as well. So this is nicer now.
Well, for the viewers at home, explain so competitive events, these are
Yeah.
rec leagues are more local, competitive, traveling all over the state to
Yes.
a higher level.
Well, actually, they're all traveling all over the state.
Right. Well, that's what I wanted to explain was you can have your rec league through your local municipality, then you can have through FYSA, then you can have the competitive events, but what is ODP? Because it's an acronym we know, but what is it?
It's the Olympic Development Program. And what we're looking for is we're looking for the elite players in our state. And that's a big job for us because we have to do it. Not only do we have to have trials and stuff, which we do in the fall, but we also have where we go out and scout the players and bring them into the program. So basically right now we have trials, we have scouting, and then in November we start putting them into pools. So every year we put them into pool training, and that'll be about 80 to 120 players in the state. And because soccer is what it is in Florida, they can't come to all the pool trainings. So we'll have this group one weekend, we'll have this group the next weekend, we'll have and they'll be all different. But a lot of the players will be the same. So that's what we try to put together a team. And in looking at it, we're in the top 3 of the country in terms of the Olympic Development Program. It was interesting, we went to Camping Murfreesboro, and they had West, they had Central, they had East, and Florida. So we got to
Wow.
put together our teams, and then they mixed up the teams in Texas, they mixed up the teams in the central part, and they mixed up North Carolina and Georgia. So that's where they look at us as we're the top dog in the region.
That's fantastic, and all that training is taking place at Lake Myrtle.
Absolutely, yes.
What in regards to the ODP program, what players have came through that and have moved on to play at a higher level?
Well, it's interesting. We put together a list of the alumni players who made it to the national teams.
Mm-hmm.
And we're over 100 with both the boys and the girls. So 100 boys, 100 girls.
Wow.
We have a couple of players that came from this area. Bree Folds came
Mm-hmm.
from Lakeland. She's playing in Sweden now.
Right.
We had Jessie Scarpa, who's playing in Sweden as well. She went to the University of North Carolina. Bree went to Auburn University. So I mean, those are big time players. And then we have Mason Judge, who isn't to the point where he's even going to college. He was in Auburndale, and now he's in Eintracht Frankfurt in Germany as a 19-year-old. So I mean, that's the sort of stuff that we kind of work with our program to see if they could do that part of it as they go through that.
Wow.
You know, I enjoy this show and I enjoy this county, but when we tell the stories like that, it makes me really feel bad about myself. Like I haven't accomplished.
Well, I didn't go there anyway. I didn't go that far.
It's unbelievable the amount of
Yes.
talent that comes out of this county. And of course, like you were talking, the state of Florida,
Yes.
the Polk County alone, it's unbelievable.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Lake Myrtle Sports Park, the amount of events coming in, I know just for folks at home that are watching this and maybe they don't know about Florida Youth Soccer Association, but over a decade ago when this partnership was formed, it was a 50-year agreement. The initial agreement was a 50-year agreement. But you guys aren't going anywhere because, for one, you built a really nice building out there to facilitate.
On a land that we don't own.
Right. So that's good for business.
Goodly, yeah.
But talk about why it made sense for FYSA to be at a dedicated facility and how that streamlined operations for the organization, then in turn creating all those millions of dollars of economic impact for Polk County.
Well, we have all our office there. So we have 10 people in the office. We have an executive director. I'm in charge of the ODP, the coaching ed, some of the player development stuff. Jill Hartley, or was Jill Hartley. We're looking for somebody new now. But that's it allows us to be at one place, one time. Be nice if we had more fields, but that's another story altogether.
Oh, yeah. We won't get into that today.
But the thing is we're able to run stuff. So when we're running our state cup, we've got everybody here from all around the state coming to the central location in Auburndale.
Right.
We have people from Miami that would travel up here to play games. So it allows us to have one central location in the central part of the state, and allows us to be able to give them ideas. We're able to get sponsors. We're able to do whatever we want to do, but that helps us. Plus we have our treasurer, our registrar, all that sort of stuff, all here in the office. So everything comes out of that office.
Perfect.
Yeah, I know you guys have ODP training, I believe, this Saturday, and then following from there, state Premier League August and State Cup, as you're saying. What are some of the other events you guys are running and have coming up on your calendar?
Well, like I said, we have the FSPL, we have the Futures, we have we have the ODP process, we have coaching ed coming in. We have all sorts of stuff we're running through the complex. And I mean, we're doing it at least 10 times this year, okay? So I think that helps us, just ODP. Now we look at the other competitions, and you'll look at the calendar and you'll see there's FYSA here all the time. And you trying to look at that makes a difference.
Yeah.
Well, and it also promotes the destination. So the
absolutely.
FHSAA Boys and Girls State Championships have been in Polk County at the RP Funding Center for a very long time. There was like a 3-year period where they went to Tallahassee and then they figured out that wasn't good. So the event came back to Lakeland. But all boys and girls basketball teams in the high school level each year, first conversations with their team or with their coaches, everybody's pointing to get to Lakeland.
Yes.
That's the end goal. So I would assume that that's very true within the soccer community, that if you're getting to Lake Myrtle, you've either individually done something very special, or as a team, you're competing for some sort of championship.
No, you're right. And I think that's an important piece, because it's interesting. I went to Tallahassee instead of coming to Lake Myrtle or Lakeland for the event. So I think that's something that we need to look at in terms of what can we bring more here in terms of the events, in terms of our training. So for example, one of the things we do is we have, last year we played the MLS teams. So Inter Miami came up, Orlando City came over, and we played them. Now they're talking to their next programs, the programs that feed into them, and now they're going to come in for an event, and Inter Miami's going to come in for an event. So now we've got that level of play coming into Orlando or into Auburndale.
And
Lake
you have the
Myrtle.
Florida Tropics.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, absolutely. So we got all that sort of stuff coming in, and I think that works for us.
Well, you have an event this weekend because of weather that's coming in.
Yes.
It'll only be Saturday.
Just
so
Saturday.
a little bit of breaking news. If you try to go out there on Sunday, you won't find anybody. But it's going to be Saturday, the ODP pool training at Lake Myrtle. But we're running short on time. But if someone wants to get their youngster involved, or maybe there's someone, a youth watching this program, how can they get involved with Florida Youth Soccer, or how does that work? Because there's clubs everywhere.
Well, they can go to the website, which is www.fysa.com, and they get information there. We also have a Facebook page. We also have a Twitter account, because you have a new communications person, so they're utilizing that part of it. But that's how you get involved with us as well.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, we appreciate it. We appreciate all that FYSA does for Polk County. We certainly appreciate what you do, Mike, and we look forward to hopefully you and I retire before the agreement's up.
Exactly.
Or has to be renewed.
Mine will be much more for you.
Mine will probably be decided upon how many
Neal
grandchildren.
just had a birthday.
Exactly.
What? All right, Mike, thanks so much.
No problem.
All right, well, there's always something going on in Polk County, and the Lakeland Composite mountain bike team they actually have provided us with their goal here, and it's to provide Lakeland area students grades 6 through 12 an opportunity to participate in an outdoor activity with their peers. And of course, with COVID, a lot of outdoor spaces, kids getting back outside, and that's great. We have two featured riders and part of this club, Caleb Adam and Zachary Corbett. We caught up with them recently. Let's take a look. Gerald and Neal will be right back here on Sports Central.
I've been riding for since I was 4 or 5, so I've been riding for 7, 8, 9, around those many years. And I started I done bike with training wheels. I have a 9er hardtail. I know I have carbon wheels. I do have a dropper on this, and I think I have a SRAM brakes, and then Shimano or derailleur there.
I got into it because of my dad. When I was like 8, he just got me into it, and I just kept doing it because I enjoyed it. I don't know, it's like, I just like going fast. It's just fun. It's just like just the speed, just like going down hills, jumping and stuff.
Need a bit of skills and bit of strength and just gotta pay attention to the trails ahead of you. Yeah, you need a bit of skill, some strength, and just keep going. Micah, I got involved with Micah last year. We just heard about him and we thought maybe it would be a good idea, and I did last year, I liked it, and I did it this year.
Well, you got to be aware of like everything that goes on the trails, or else you might take a spill or something. And it requires a lot of balance. It's just something that you get over time of doing it. Yeah, it's just a lot of practice goes into it. The worst damage I've done, I fell kinda, let's see, there's kind of like a thing, it's like a turn pretty much that goes up and comes back down. Well, I fell right in the middle of it, and my bike came down on top of me, and my handlebar, like the end, just like dug into my leg. And I still have like a little scar right on my thigh here. That was probably the worst one. And then as in like spills, as in like falling in the water, I've just fallen. There's one trail that goes right along the edge of the water, and I just fell just right off the side. And there's a guy in a canoe watching me fall in, and he said, good thing you didn't go in there an hour ago, because there's an alligator right there.
I've ridden Jack Rabbit. It's on the Georgia and South Carolina or North Carolina border. And then we hit Pisgah and DuPont. And Jack Rabbit is a really fun place. Flowy, has some climbing. Pisgah is a lot of climbing. And then DuPont DuPont is climbing and downhill. So it's a lot of down and up up north where we went, and then that's where I have been in Cloudland. I've been to Cloudland before.
So my most recent one that was awesome, I went to North Carolina in Brevard for 2 weeks with one of our other teammates and his dad, and we just went to some of the most beautiful places. You ride along the side of like a cliff or something, and you get to look out, and it's just beautiful stuff.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Sports Central, fourth and final segment. Neal Duncan alongside, I almost forgot who I was. It's Friday. Neal Duncan, Gerald, Richardson. This fourth segment brought to us by Party Rentals Unlimited, great partner of tourism and sports marketing, of course, over there in Winter Haven. But we talked about it at the start of the show. Usually you're on the guest side of things, but now on the co-host side of things, recently joining the Polk County Tourism and Sports Marketing team. Gerald, tell us a little bit what you were doing before, and then we can talk about what you're going to be doing.
Yeah, past 15 years, obviously with the YMCA Par 3 First Tee of Lakeland, there as the executive director and teaching our First Tee program to our local youth, our life skills program, and changing lives through the game of golf.
Yeah, and part of the interview process was me asking him if he can fix my swing. He made no guarantees. It's not good.
There's some you say yes to very quickly,
some
and then there's some you act like you
fixable.
didn't hear the question.
I understand. So coming to Polk County Tourism and Sports Marketing, now going to oversee the field sports recruitment, as we were saying in our previous segment with Mike from FYSA. These events don't just show up in Polk County. There is relationship, there's a process, there is a number of things that go into bringing these events to Polk County, generating that economic impact. And I know you're excited about being a part of that process and getting into the soccer and lacrosse and all that stuff.
Yeah, very much so. Like I say, with FYSA right there on campus, they're one of our biggest things that I'll be working with in field sports with soccer. But like you say, rugby and lacrosse and with Pan American and that stuff. So really looking forward to kind of new chapter.
Yeah, and you mentioned the Pan American Lacrosse. Of course, the Pan American Lacrosse Association, headquartered there at the Lake Myrtle Sports Park in Auburndale. Exciting news coming out of these Olympics, not just because the U.S. won the most golds and the most medals when the final tallies were done, but lacrosse, World World Lacrosse, that's a tongue twister there, was formally accepted as a member of the IOC, the International Olympic Committee. So one step closer to putting lacrosse back into the Olympics.
Yeah, and their event, one of the events we'll cover here is coming up soon. But yeah, that would be a great accomplishment for us to have them out of the facility as an Olympic team.
Yeah, and turning Lake Myrtle into that Olympic training facility, which has been the goal for a long time, probably back before the FYSA deal was even struck. So speaking of events, we've got some events coming up. One this weekend, a great partner that you're working with, Florida Elite.
Yeah, Florida Elite, huge youth football event this weekend out at Summers Young there in Auburndale, Winter Haven. Over 100 teams. Make sure you try to get out and see that and catch a piece of the action. Also this weekend, as we just spoke with, the ODP training out at Lake Myrtle Sports Complex as well.
Just on Saturday.
Just on Saturday.
Yeah.
Just on Saturday. And then also this weekend, kind of rounding out the weekend, the Dog Days softball event out at the Bartow Complex.
Yeah, USFA, a great partner. They run a number of events in Polk County. I'd say they're up probably around 15 to 20 events. Of course, Florida Half Century, NSA. Softball has long been one of those really high-performing events and generating that economic impact. And at the end of the day, as you know, Gerald, that creates jobs. Money coming in. This is new money coming into Polk County. And it's very important and has been important during the post-COVID shutdown of putting people back to work.
That's right. They don't events don't run themselves.
Well, speaking of NSA, they have an event coming up.
Yeah, 20th and August 20th, 22nd out at Diamondplex. The Freedom Softball is that one, and then also that weekend the NSA at the SummerSlam there, also at the Bartow Complex. And back to FYSA, the state premier event, August 21st, 22nd out at Lake Myrtle.
Yeah, and then we have the Sunshine Sam. I'm having problems talking that. Well, I haven't been on set for a long time, so
Not sure if it's that or, as I was mentioning, that birthday this past couple days. So.
So it's because I'm older.
Yeah,
now.
I got to throw that back in there.
Sunshine State Athletic Conference volleyball will be at the Advent Health Fieldhouse in Winter Haven. That is August 27th through the 28th. We're looking forward to that. And one of the premier cross-country facilities in the state is right here in Polk County in Lakeland. That's Holloway Park. The Jim Ryan Invitational will be August 28th. And this past week, actually had a site visit and will be hosting the American Athletic Conference Championships at Holloway Park. So that's a Division I event coming there. All those teams, of course, USF and UCF are part of that. So we're very excited about that. Let's go to the Pan American Lacrosse event as we're starting to run a little short on time.
Yeah, September 3rd, 5th, as we mentioned, also out at Lake Myrtle Sports Complex. Looking around 250 participants coming in from around the world for this. So a massive event for lacrosse and something big that, like I said, we're going to build on for hopefully that Olympics run.
Absolutely. Well, we're thrilled about that. We're going to go ahead and hit our sponsors: BSN Sports, Hall Communications, Hollywood Window Tinting and Signs, Cabana Club Resort, and the Hampton Inn Bartow. Some of the partners that made this show possible. You can listen to the sister show, Sports Central Radio, on Talk 1430 and Talk 96.7 every Thursday from 5 to 6 p.m. or tune in on Tuesday mornings from 7 to 8 a.m. Great partner there. Or you can log on to centralfloridasports.com for a full listing of events, or give us a call at 863-551-4750. The next live edition of Sports Central will come to you August 27th, and we're looking forward to that. And hopefully by then, you're so confident that they don't let me come anymore.
Oh, I don't know if I'd go that far.
Maybe you and Mark.
Well, that's
the
true.
Big boss.
That's true. It'll be me and Mark, but it won't be because I've stole the show from you.
Well, just so you know, he'll refer to the two of you as the A team, and I will forever be on the B team. Make sure you go up to the Visitor Information Center 1/2 mile south of I-4 on Highway 27 for the discounted attraction tickets and all the information of the things going on in Polk County. Go to visitcentralflorida.org. Again, next live show, August 27th. Until then, for Gerald Richardson, I'm Neal Duncan. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you again next time.